Ever felt your whole day spiral because of a cold glance, a single message, or a family complaint? Why does a small ripple throw your entire emotional balance into chaos? So ask yourself, are you steering your mind or is it steering you?
These aren't random emotions, they're signals. The world isn't always harsh, but we often lack the mental tools to stay grounded. Mental strength isn't innate.
It's forged, moment by moment, through conscious discipline. That's where Stoicism comes in. This ancient yet enduring philosophy doesn't teach you to deny hardship. It teaches you to face it directly, to control your response and to master yourself with clarity and intention. In this video, I'll share with you 9 simple, practical, and powerful techniques to build rock-solid inner resilience. These aren't abstract ideas, they are tools you can apply starting today to become the strongest version of yourself. So ask yourself again, do you control your mind or does it control you? If you're ready to take back the reins, let's begin. 1. Focus only on what you can. Control most of our pain doesn't come from what happens to us, but from our desperate need to make everything go our way. We try to bend the world, control people, force results. But in that struggle, we lose the very thing we crave most, freedom. True control isn't about pulling life's strings. It's about holding your own thread and knowing when to let go. Whether it's waiting for someone, facing unfairness, or watching your child stumble, ask yourself, what part of this is mine to carry? What part must I release? And when you master this art, adversity becomes not a wall, but a doorway. A place where pressure doesn't crush you. It forges you. When you learn to focus only on what you can control, you create the foundation for inner peace. But life will eventually do more than just irritate you. It will test your humility, your patience, and your mental endurance. That's the moment real growth begins. Turn adversity into strength. Every criticism, whether fair or unfair, is an arrow aimed at your ego. And yes, the ego flinches, but your character grows stronger in return. Instead of lashing out, ask yourself, what lesson is hidden here that could make me unshakable tomorrow? This is not passive tolerance, it's an active transformation. A marathon runner once told me, by mile 20 my legs were screaming, but when I learned to smile through the pain, something shifted. The pain didn't disappear, it just stopped scaring me. Traffic jams, they aren't enemies, they're quiet patience drills, rejection. It's not failure, it's a lesson in resilience. That early morning when every part of you wants to stay in bed yet you rise anyway, that's when steel is forged in your spirit. Have you ever thought, what if the very thing I keep avoiding is the exact thing that would make me stronger if I faced it directly? Most people miss this. The more you avoid discomfort, the weaker you become. And here's the twist. Those little annoyances that bruise your pride, they're actually mirrors reflecting where you're still fragile. We often believe, as long as things go well, I'll be fine. But if your well-being depends on everything going perfectly, you're gambling your peace on circumstances you don't control. Remember these words from the Bible. Count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. Next time frustration strikes, don't ask, when will this be over? Ask, how much patience is this moment building in me? The more trials you endure, the greater your capacity becomes, for responsibility, for purpose, for greatness. A dam isn't built just to block water. It's built to withstand immense pressure. Without pressure, how can you know your limits? Sometimes what feels unbearable today may simply be the threshold of a strength you've never accessed before. So next time life makes you grit your teeth, smile softly, not out of forced positivity, but because you understand, right now, I'm sharpening the blade of my spirit. You are walking a path only the bold dare to follow. And beyond what once felt impossible, your strongest self may be waiting. Have you ever nearly broken, but didn't? How did you rise again? Share your story in the comments. You never know who it might inspire. And if you'd like to explore more tools to cultivate an unshakable mind, subscribe. Maybe today you don't need it, but when the storm hits, you'll be glad you were ready. When you learn to turn adversity into strength, you begin shaping a version of yourself that can weather anything, but you can't go further without one. Key ingredient: self-discipline. 3. Discipline. The daily decisions that shape your destiny, scattered desires, pull you in every direction, leaving you stuck in the mud. Discipline, however, lays a smooth road beneath your feet, guiding you forward with clarity and purpose. Every tiny choice you make etches itself into your mind. Each time you choose comfort over commitment, you silently tell your brain, "This is okay, do it again next time." But every time you say no to laziness, no to delay, you're reprogramming yourself, becoming stronger, more reliable, more focused. So ask yourself, who walks beside you each day? Discipline or distraction? Because what you repeat becomes who you are, and who you are shapes where you're going. Many people think success comes from bold moves or dramatic breakthroughs, but look closely. No strong body is built from one intense workout. No lasting company thrives on a single good idea. Everything meaningful is born from thousands of quiet, unglamorous decisions, the kind only you will notice. Some say, "I lack determination." But determination isn't found, it's forged, day by day, from acts no one claps for. Imagine a dry twig. It breaks easily. But wrap it with thin wire, slowly, layer after layer, and soon it cannot be broken. Are you patient enough to wrap that wire every day? Or are you still hoping the twig will magically strengthen on its own? A practical way to begin: set one unbreakable rule for yourself, something you'll do daily, no matter the circumstances. For example, every night before bed, write down 3 things you accomplished, not to brag, but to remind yourself. You keep promises to you. Here's a truth not many talk about. Discipline is not always doing more. It's often about choosing to do less. Less scrolling, less busy work, less wasted energy on things that don't move you forward. A skilled soldier doesn't carry the entire armory on their back. They carry only what matters. So ask yourself, what unnecessary weight did I let go of today? That too is a form of discipline. Sometimes discipline means forgiving yourself. Not to let yourself off the hook, but to refuse to stay down when you fall. Failure isn't what breaks discipline. It's when you use failure as an excuse to quit, as the Bible says. The righteous fall 7 times but rise again. Getting up the 8th time, that's discipline. But none of this matters if you can't see things as they really are, if you can't call laziness by name, if you can't spot procrastination for what it is. Then your discipline is just an illusion. That's why the next step is essential. Learning to see clearly, objectively, free from emotional fog. Only then can true mental toughness begin. Once you begin to see life clearly and objectively, free from emotional distortion, there comes a truth you can no longer avoid, one that is uncomfortable but deeply clarifying. Death is the only certainty. Mr. Stoner, remember, death is the only certainty. This morning, someone ran a red light and never made it home. This afternoon, someone sat sipping coffee, only to have their world collapse with a call from the hospital. Tonight, someone will lie in bed assuming tomorrow will come like always, but it won't. We all know this truth. Yet we live as though we're immortal. Death is always near, yet it's often the farthest thing from our minds. Ignoring it doesn't protect us. It only leaves us careless and fragile. The Stoics never turned their backs on death. They faced it directly, and through that courage, learned to live with clarity, strength, and purpose. Some may ask, does thinking about death make us pessimistic? In truth, it does the opposite. Only when we grasp that everything ends can we truly savor the present moment. We've all delayed an apology, postponed a life-changing decision, or avoided a meaningful conversation, assuming we'd have more time. But when you realize later is not promised, hesitation feels foolish. People on their deathbeds don't worry about what others think. They wish they had said what needed to be said, done what they never dared. Why wait until the end to start living honestly? Seneca said it best. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Time isn't scarce, attention is. We waste hours scrolling, talking about nothing, fueling our anxieties with meaningless worry. So ask yourself, if you had just 1 week left, would you waste time on bitter comments? Would you hesitate to chase that dream? Or would you finally write that book, hug your loved ones, and say the words you never had the courage to? Try this. Each morning, as you wash your face, look in the mirror and quietly say, "Today could be my last." You'll find yourself letting go of petty things, focusing more deeply and treasuring even the most ordinary moments. This isn't morbid, it's awakening, like a mountain climber who always looks down, not to freeze in fear, but to move with presence and care. And here's the paradox: the more deeply you absorb the truth of death, the lighter you feel. You stop carrying the weight of meaningless distractions. You begin to pack only what matters, just like for a one-way journey. Those who remember death don't live recklessly, they live wisely. They nurture meaningful relationships, commit to purposeful work, and let go of pointless arguments. Scripture says, "What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes." If life is a mist, why let laziness, anger, or fear rule your spirit? Live as though this moment is your only chance to get it right, to live fully, honestly, and freely. That's the courage of the Stoic. To walk each step, knowing death is close. Not to fear it, but to let it shape every action and make every moment sacred. When you live with the awareness of death by your side, you no longer get swept away by emotional storms. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you begin to ask, "How will I face this time?" Because honestly, this is not the first time, and it certainly won't be the last. 7. Remind yourself, this is not the first and not the last. Some days it all seems to come crashing down at once. A rejection email, a painful phone call, a minor argument that pushes you over the edge, and your mind screams, "Why me? Why now? Why again?" But maybe that's not the question you need to ask. The real question is, how will I face this now? Because storms always return. Only their timing and force change. The weak wait for the storm to pass. The strong learn to build shelter while it still rains. Think back to the times you thought, "I'll never make it through this." But you did. You're still here. What knocks us down isn't the challenge itself, it's the shock of it, like being slapped in a crowd. But why are we so surprised? What on this earth hasn't happened before? Seneca once said, "Disaster is virtue's opportunity." Challenges aren't punishments. They're invitations to forge the mind anew like a blacksmith tempers hot steel. One way to practice this mindset: treat every difficulty like an old guest. They might arrive unannounced, sometimes in the middle of the night, but they're never strangers. Invite them in. Let them sit in the living room of your mind. Ask them, "What are you here to teach me this time?" By morning, they'll leave, and you'll be left with a cleaner, tougher inner space. How do you apply this in daily life? Write. Every time trouble arises, grab a pen and ask, "Have I been through something like this before? How did I respond then? How do I want to respond now?" Writing pulls you out of the storm of reactivity and places you in the calm seat of reflection. You're no longer an actor swept up by the script. You're the director writing the ending, and here's the surprising thing. Often, the challenges you thought would break you turned out to be the ones that built you. When you stop chasing praise or fearing judgment, you naturally turn inward. And in that quiet space where no one else can follow, solitude begins to do its most powerful work. Seek solitude, where mental strength is forged. I once met a man who spent 30 minutes a day sitting alone in an empty room. No lights, no
Music. Nothing. I asked him, "What are you doing there?" He smiled and said, "I listen." At first, I didn't understand. Listen to what? In silence?
But one day, I tried it. And I heard everything: the racing thoughts, the buried fears, the ambitions I never dared to name. Strangely afterward, my decisions felt calmer. I wasn't rushing anymore. I finally knew what to hold on to and what to let go of. Some people believe solitude is a waste of time. But truthfully, avoiding solitude is the real waste. When you're never alone, you're easily pulled into other people's noise, living their expectations instead of your truth. But when you sit with yourself, the masks fall away. And what's left is the core of who you truly are. That core, raw and honest, is the foundation of unshakable resilience. Ask yourself, if everything around you fell silent, could you sit with that silence? Solitude teaches you to stand tall without applause. It forces you to confront hard questions without fleeing. And more than anything, it reveals a life-changing truth. No one is coming to save you but you. So don't wait for life to corner you into stillness. Seek it out every morning. Wake up 15 minutes earlier. Sit in silence, no distractions, no scrolling, no noise. When restlessness creeps in, stay. When discomfort rises, don't run. Just sit. Just listen. Because if you can't sit with yourself in stillness, how will you stand strong when the world starts shaking? We've now walked through 9 core principles for building true mental toughness through the enduring wisdom of Stoicism. Mental strength isn't something you're born with, it's something you build, choice by choice, moment by moment. Life will continue to test you in ways you can't predict or control. But you will always have power over one thing: how you respond. Each principle in this video is an invitation to turn inward, to quiet the noise, to stand firm even when the world feels unstable. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be disciplined enough to keep going, calm enough to think clearly, and wise enough to know what's worth your energy and what's not. That's how resilience is born. Slowly, quietly, but unbreakably. If you've made it this far and found value in this video, please hit like. It helps more than you know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, or personal reflections in the comments. And if someone in your life needs this message, share it with them. Most importantly, don't forget to subscribe because there's so much more to explore. And I can't wait to continue this journey with you.